Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabriel, coming at you from Queens, New York. And today we are going to talk about something that I've been accused of. And what I've been accused of being is racist. Now, to give a little, I guess, background history on me, I am Dominican. I was born in the Dominican Republic, so I am an immigrant into the United States. My grandpa worked his ass off to get his family over here. And if you don't know, the Dominican Republic is actually where Christopher Columbus landed. So, as a result of that, there is almost no 100% native Dominican islanders left alive today. Every Dominican has a mix of African and European blood. Now, the reason why I was called racist, and actually, before I even get into that, I'm gonna keep talking a little bit more about myself. So that's kind of like what I just said about about Dominicans. It's kind of just like the genealogy, right? So about me specifically, I came to the United States, like I said, thanks to my grandpa. Um, I think I was 1, maybe 2 years old, or something like that, and we came straight to New York City. We've I've lived in Manhattan pretty much my entire life. When I was little, we lived on 135th, I think it was, on the west side. And then we moved to 108th Street and Park Avenue on the east side of Manhattan. And then a little bit later, that's when I was living with my grandparents. And then after my mom got situated, she came she came after me because my grandpa, you know, couldn't bring her at the time. So when she finally came over, a couple years later, she met my stepdad. They started a family. So then I moved in with them, and they were living back on the west side, around 136 in Hamilton Place. Was the street. Anyways, so I mean, if you know anything about Manhattan, you know those two neighborhoods specifically. The west side is mostly around around 135th, 136 West Side Manhattan. Near Broadway. It's Spanish. It's very very Spanish. There's not that many white people around. It's just Spanish, some black. A lot of culture there. On 108th Street and Park Avenue, it's we lived in a project called the Barrio Projects, and that was more mixed. It was just Spanish and black, and so that's been my background growing up. Right, I grew up in nothing but Spanish and black neighborhoods, around nothing but Spanish and black people, friends, enemies, family, etc. Uh, the classes in my school throughout elementary school, junior high school, and high school were overwhelming majority Spanish and black. I can count the number of white kids that have been in the same class as me on one hand, and that's throughout my entirety of academic career up to high school. So my senior year of high school, and below that, less than 5 white kids total in my classes. And then obviously college is way more diverse, so that just widen my horizons a little bit there. Um, so 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 already you can kind of see how calling somebody racist who comes from a background that I come from is already a bit far fetched. Um, so then what? So then the next question is that, well, why did you get called racist, right? Because maybe, maybe they were right, right? I'm not gonna say who it was that called me racist, but you know, um, so there's it's no secret that I don't support BLM cooperation. Right? I have no problem with the saying. I have no problem with saying Black Lives Matter. I have no problem saying Spanish Lives Matter. I have no problem saying Asian Lives Matter. I have no problem saying White Lives Matter. That's why I prefer to say all lives matter, because it makes more sense. Because I don't like to focus on one group that doesn't won't merit any type of focus really. So and that's kind of like the whole premise, right? BLM Incorporated is a political organization with headquarters in the United States, in Canada, and in Europe. They are responsible for fanning the flames of anger and hate in the Black community. They instigate a lot of the things that we have seen in the United States in the past couple months. They do not denounce the riots. They do not denounce violence committed in their name. I'm talking about the leaders here specifically. There has been plenty of attacks on non-Black people by supporters of BLM, and when confronted with these cases, the BLM leadership does in fact say that it's okay because we've been going through the same type of violence since the inception of the United States, so therefore any violence that they do is justified. And obviously that's a very flawed ideology. It's akin to an eye for an eye. It doesn't make any real sense. And the reason why they lead or they arrive at that conclusion is because of the philosophical foundation that their movement is based on. Their movement is a movement based on the philosophy of Karl Marx. They share, the privilege of being in the same boat as other Marxists, like, I don't know, General Mao of China, right? One of the, if not the worst, most murderous person that has ever lived. Just to put it in perspective, General Mao was a huge fan of Karl Marx, and his implementation of the ideology led to the death and starvation of so many people that it actually dwarfs the amount of people Hitler killed. Just to put it in perspective, right? Hitler's a lightweight compared to Mao. So we have this deeply, deeply flawed ideology that comes from BLM leadership, and people always tell me, like, well, the leadership aren't the people. The people in the movement are good people. And it's like, that's the same thing as saying that the people in the Nazi army weren't weren't the bad guys. It was Hitler that was the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are following a dangerous movement, proven to be dangerous by world history. All right, they're the worst atrocities of the 20th century. The most deaths, the most starvation, the most theft, the most unjust imprisonment happened by people who were following the ideologies of Karl Marx. So you have this movement who is led by self-proclaimed students of Marxism, and you expect me to think that they have good intentions at heart? No, they do not. No Marxist has ever had good intentions at heart. You can see this by where all of their movements have led to. Every single Marxist has, at the end of their lives, been responsible for the deaths and starvation of millions. This is historical fact. So I was talking along these lines, and I said what I ended up saying after a long time of just back and forth dribble was that BLM is nothing but a bunch of spoiled black babies. And this was the aha moment for the person that I was arguing with, because they took that statement as racist. And after I said that, their only point of argument was that I'm racist, and therefore everything else that I have to say is completely invalid. Even though the statement in and of itself, you can say it's inaccurate, but is it racist? No, because the statement isn't criticizing the people for being black. The statement is criticizing the people for their behavior and their actions and their mentality, right? Because when you have all these rioters and looters, you have all these people shutting down peaceful restaurant goers that are literally just having a dinner with their family, and they go marching through these restaurants, forcing people to leave, screaming BLM at them, trying to force people to put up their fist in solidarity, or else they're a racist, you know? This type of stuff. This is the behavior that I was talking about. Spoiled black babies. Now you can say that Black Lives Matter isn't all black people, which is true, which is where the statement would be inaccurate, right? Black Lives Matter is, I would say, majority white people, right? Majority rich white people. So the statement could be inaccurate, but it is far from racist. Because saying that you are spoiled and a baby, it doesn't matter if I say your race or not, because I'm just describing you at that point. I'm not denigrating you because of your race. That's what would be racist, right? These people that just throw the term racist around, they cheapen the term to the point where everybody who doesn't agree with them is racist. And that's the whole point. You see, they were losing the argument. So instead of having to actually come to terms with the weakness of their ideas and of the movement that they're following, they would prefer to shut down all conversation and simply call anybody who is on the other side of the aisle racist. But anyways, yeah, so I was accused of being racist. A Dominican male living and grew up in New York City his entire life. Racist. Because he doesn't support BLM. Who, by the way, the majority of BLM's donations, and we're talking about billions of dollars here, not millions, billions, right? How many inner city cleanup projects has BLM funded? How many historically black colleges has BLM donated to? How many BLM scholarships are there for black kids? How many inner city schools has BLM bought computers for and updated their textbooks for? How many school supplies has BLM given to the black kids growing up in the cities today? And compare that number, because I'm not saying that they haven't, right? But compare that number to the amount of funding and money that BLM is giving to old white men running for politics. You will find a huge disparity. And that right there, that disparity, tells you where their priorities lie. You can't tell me that you believe Black Lives Matter while you're letting black neighborhoods rot, while you're letting black kids go to schools with outdated textbooks and computers that barely work. You can't tell me Black Lives Matter when the person who has given the most to historically black colleges in the last 4 years is an old white dude by the name of Trump. You can't claim that and do nothing but give money, not nothing, but figuratively speaking, give nothing but the majority of your money to political pundits who you want to buy. There is a disparity in your actions and your claims and your words. You're saying one thing, but you're not doing what you're saying. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.